Forget the rankings. Forget the experts. In March Madness, it only takes one night for history to be made. One shot, one upset, one underdog refusing to back down. These aren't just games. They're shockwaves that rock the basketball world. From 15 seeds flying high to tiny schools toppling titans, these moments live forever. This is where legends are born and brackets go up in flames. Today, we're counting down 10 insane times underdogs stunned college basketball and reminded us why we love the madness. Before 2018, picking a 16 seed to beat a 1 seed was a fun way to show how bold you were. Not how smart. It had never happened, not once. Then came the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. Facing Virginia, the tournament's overall top seed and a defensive juggernaut, UMBC was given zero chance. And yet, what unfolded was not just an upset, it was a demolition. Final score, 74-54. No flukes, no miracles, just dominance. Led by guard Jairus Lyles, who dropped 28 points, UMBC dismantled Virginia's vaunted defense with quick cuts, smooth shooting, and relentless energy. By the time the final buzzer sounded, history had been rewritten. Brackets were torched, fans were in shock, and the myth of 16 can't beat one was dead. What made it so shocking wasn't just the win, it was the margin. A 20-point victory against a 1 seed that many had penciled in to win it all, that wasn't just madness, that was a message. In 2013, nobody outside of Florida had heard of FGCU. By the end of the first weekend, everyone knew Dunk City. Florida Gulf Coast entered the tournament as a 15 seed, matched up against Georgetown, a perennial Big East powerhouse with national title hopes. Most expected a routine win for the Hoyas. What they got was a highlight reel of alley-oops, swagger, and fearless basketball. Led by coach Andy Enfield and players like Sherwood Brown and Brett Comer, FGCU played like they had nothing to lose, because they didn't. They ran, dunked, and danced their way to a 78-68 win that electrified the crowd and the internet. Then they did it again, knocking off San Diego State to become the first 15 seed ever to reach the Sweet 16. There's March Madness, and then there's magic. The 1983 NC State Wolfpack gave us the latter. Coached by the unforgettable Jim Valvano, NC State entered the tournament as a 6 seed, with slim hopes of surviving even the early rounds. But with heart, hustle, and a little luck, they clawed their way into the national championship game against one of the most intimidating teams ever. Houston's Vi Slamajama, featuring Hakeem Olajuwon and Clyde Drexler. Few gave them a chance. The Cougars were dominant, athletic, and expected to cruise. But NC State hung around, slowed the tempo, and refused to go away. With the game tied and seconds left, Derek Whittenburg launched a desperate shot. It fell short until Lorenzo Charles soared in and dunked it at the buzzer. Game over, title won, pandemonium. When people think of Loyola Chicago's 2018 run, they might picture Sister Jean, the team's 98-year-old chaplain who stole hearts with her wit, wisdom, and unwavering support. But this team wasn't just a feel-good story, they were legit. The Ramblers entered the tournament as an 11 seed with little national attention. But round after round, they kept winning, and in dramatic fashion. A buzzer beater against Miami, a last-second jumper against Tennessee, a gritty win over Nevada. Suddenly, they were in the Elite Eight, and after toppling Kansas State, they were Final Four bound. Their success wasn't fluky. They played smart, unselfish basketball with multiple players stepping up at different moments. They had poise, a clear identity, and a belief in each other that few teams could match. In 2006, George Mason was a mid-major afterthought. They didn't even win their conference tournament. Their selection into the big dance drew eye rolls from analysts who said more deserving teams were left out. Then they beat Michigan State, then defending champ North Carolina, then Wichita State. And finally, in one of the most memorable Elite Eight games ever, they beat top-seeded Yukon, a team full of future NBA players, in overtime. It was unreal. George Mason from the Colonial Athletic Association in the Final Four. Coach Jim Larrañaga led a group of tough, gritty players who weren't afraid of the moment. They played with purpose and precision, and as the wins piled up, their confidence soared. The more people doubted them, the stronger they became. If George Mason was the Cinderella of 2006, Butler became the model for what Cinderella could become. Out of the Horizon League, the Bulldogs crashed the 2010 national title game as a 5 seed. But it wasn't just that they made it, they nearly won the whole thing. Against Duke, Butler played with composure, physicality, and smarts. The game came down to Gordon Hayward's half-court heave at the buzzer. It missed by inches. Inches from pulling off the greatest ending in NCAA history. A year later, Butler ran it back, this time as an 8 seed. They reached the title game again, this time falling to Yukon. 2 straight years, a tiny school led by the baby-faced Brad Stevens nearly pulled off the impossible. When Villanova took the court against Georgetown in the 1985 championship game, almost no one gave them a shot. Georgetown was loaded, Patrick Ewing was a force, and the Hoyas had the look of an unstoppable machine. But Villanova played the perfect game, literally. They shot 78.6% from the field, the highest shooting percentage ever in a title game. Their offense was patient, deliberate, surgical. It was a masterclass in control under pressure. The Wildcats won 66-64, pulling off one of the biggest point spread upsets in title game history. They didn't rely on luck. They executed flawlessly and beat one of the best teams in college basketball history. Tiny St. Peter's out of Jersey City, New Jersey, walked into the 2022 tournament as a 15 seed. They walked out as legends. First, they stunned number 2 seed Kentucky, then they beat Murray State, and then Purdue, a Big Ten powerhouse with NBA talent. Suddenly, St. Peter's was in the Elite Eight, the first 15 seed to ever get there. Their run was gritty and joyful, led by head coach Shaheen Holloway and a cast of under-recruited players with huge chips on their shoulders. They played like they belonged, even if nobody else thought they did. For a few unforgettable days, they were America's team. Before Steph Curry was a 2-time MVP, he was a skinny sophomore lighting up March Madness. In 2008, Curry led 10th seed Davidson on a wild ride. First came 40 points against Gonzaga, then 30 against Georgetown, then 33 against Wisconsin. Suddenly, Davidson was in the Elite Eight, 1 possession away from beating eventual champ Kansas. They didn't make the Final Four, but Davidson's run was unforgettable. Curry became a star. Davidson became a name, and it proved that one incredible player could carry a mid-major deep into the dance. Harvard had never won an NCAA tournament game. In 2013, they changed that, then busted a ton of brackets in the process. Up against a seasoned New Mexico team, Harvard wasn't supposed to keep up physically. But what they lacked in athleticism, they made up for in smarts and execution. They slowed the tempo, drained threes, and locked down on defense. Final score, 68-62. It was more than just a win. It was a moment for Ivy League basketball. A reminder that brains can beat brawn when the game plan is tight and belief runs deep. Underdogs are the soul of March Madness. They make us believe, not just in basketball, but in the possibility that anything can happen when preparation meets opportunity. These stories stick with us because they're emotional, they're raw, they're real. Whether it's a buzzer beater, a perfect game, or just a team nobody saw coming, underdog wins shake the sport in the best possible way. They rewrite history, they inspire future players and programs, and they remind us that names on jerseys matter less than heart on the court. Every March, fans fill out brackets, and deep down, no matter who they pick, they're watching. just in case lightning strikes again. Those were 10 of the wildest underdog moments in college basketball history. Proof that heart, hustle, and belief can rewrite everything. But with every new tournament, there's always room for one more Cinderella. So here's the question: which underdog run shocked you the most? Or did we miss one that should have made the list? Let us know in the comments.